It'll never be the same because our brother's not here. DMX, you know, rest in peace.
God.
You know, we formed like a brotherhood. I didn't have to see him. I didn't have to call him. He didn't have to call me. When we saw each other though, it was that.
Right there.
It was that. It was beyond like.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again. Okay.
But they all, you know,
Jay and Beyoncé, and they dropped the same day as Nas. After Nas have some type of glitch problem where Tidal wouldn't release his album for at least 24 hours.
Let's talk about the unspoken truths of hip-hop. Things the legends saw but few dared to say. Nas has officially broken the silence, and what he's saying about Jay-Z and Beyoncé has the internet shaking. It's not just about music, it's about sabotage, manipulation, and the quiet power moves that have shaped the careers of some of the greatest artists we know today. From DMX's crushed comeback to Nas's overshadowed albums, this is the story of how Jay-Z allegedly ran scared and hid behind Queen Bey to cover his tracks.
Around the same time, and then the time.
They said Stillmatic came out December 18th. They said Jay released Unplugged. Then they said Street Disciple November 30th. Then Collision Course. Nas's greatest hits, American Gangster. Nasir, Everything Is Love. The Lost Tapes, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Lion King.
and that's where it got stupid with the Lion King soundtrack. The Lion King soundtrack is when it gets kind of...
At the heart of this story is a bond, Nas and DMX. Their friendship wasn't about phone calls or publicity. It was deeper, unspoken, built on mutual respect. Nas described it as brotherhood, a connection that didn't need words, but that respect also came from something else. They were both survivors in a cutthroat industry. They saw the game for what it really was, and both knew that sometimes your biggest threat isn't the critics or the charts, it's the gatekeepers hiding in plain sight.
A competitive thing, but it was big love. He was so competitive with me. I never met a human being more competitive with me, like ever, not even my big brother.
According to Nas, Jay-Z isn't just competitive, he's calculated, ruthless even. And he didn't just go toe-to-toe with his peers, he worked behind the scenes to silence them. Take DMX. It's no secret the two had tension. But what most fans don't know is that when Jay-Z became president of Def Jam in 2004, everything changed for X. His sixth album, Year of the Dog, again was stalled. Jay had promised to support it, even helped pick a single and greenlighted a video. But then, radio silence. The album got delayed, X's momentum vanished, and Jay suddenly unretired to reclaim the spotlight. And Nas, he wasn't spared either. When he dropped Nasir, a highly anticipated Kanye West-produced album, he thought it would be a triumphant return. But within 24 hours, Jay-Z and Beyoncé launched their surprise visual album, Everything Is Love, complete with a glossy video shot in the Louvre. Think about that. Albums don't magically appear overnight. This wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. And Nas saw it for exactly what it was. Jay wasn't battling with lyrics anymore. He was controlling the game from behind the curtain.
What happened was, you know, like I said, I had the crazy track record, Def Jam, everything was good. You know, I go to do the sixth album, and, you know,
Jay-Z
somebody
became
else takes
president.
over. Yeah. You know, when he first got the job, he hit me with the call like, yo, dog, inmates is running the building like, yo, you good? Finish the album, shoot the video. What happened? Niggas go on vacation and, you know, we don't know. What you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video, then don't know?
What makes all of this even messier is the pattern. This wasn't the first time Jay tried to overshadow Nas. Back in 2001, Nas dropped Stillmatic, a major comeback. Just 1 week later, Jay releases MTV Unplugged. In 2004, Nas drops Street's Disciple. Boom, Jay drops Collision Course with Linkin Park. In 2007, Nas drops his greatest hits. A few days later, Jay releases American Gangster. And it doesn't stop there. When Nas dropped Lost Tapes 2 in 2019, Beyoncé's Lion King, the gift mysteriously drops just days later. Coincidence? Not likely. Nas isn't the only one saying it. Beanie Siegel echoed the same frustration. He revealed that every time he dropped a project, Jay-Z dropped something right on top of it. It was like clockwork. Siegel said he could never breathe. The in-house competition was real and suffocating. And while Jay had already secured his throne as a mogul, he still made sure no one else could climb too close.
Yeah, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition, you know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again. Okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Cam'ron, another artist who fell victim to Jay's spotlight grabs, recalled his infamous 106 in Park interview. He was set to promote his album and bask in the limelight, until Jay-Z showed up unannounced and hijacked the interview to promote the Blueprint 2. Cam was blindsided. He didn't even know Jay was in the building. What should have been his moment turned into Jay's. Over and over, Jay-Z made sure his presence overshadowed the artists around him, not with talent, but with power. And this brings us back to DMX. DMX was bold, one of the few who openly challenged Jay. He didn't care about the politics. He cared about loyalty. And when he saw how Jay handled his album release while pretending to be a friend, it broke him. Jay claimed on LeBron James's show that their rivalry was all love. But DMX's version told a different story. He wasn't playing games. He felt used, and the betrayal ran deep.
I don't think one man could destroy another man's life. It's ultimately in your own decisions. You know, I had a lot of issues. Like I said, legal issues at the time. And, you know, my mind wasn't where I'm at now today. Like, I used to have questions like why every time my album dropped, Jay would drop right on top of me. He wouldn't let me breathe or right before me. Like, I was always close, and I never understood that every single album that I dropped, Jay dropped right on top of me. And it was like, damn, like to have in-house competition at that magnitude was crazy. Jay already the boss, but I always thought that, like, let me breathe.
Jay-Z and Cam'ron, 106 in Park. What was going through your mind in that interview?
Nobody told me he was coming. Pause. So when I'm sitting there thinking I'm getting my moment on 106 in Park, talking about my shit and how my shit is doing well, and he comes out the back, and I'm like, it's like, what's going on? So I'm sitting there just trying to be as cool as I can, because, you know, this is my time to be on 106 in Park and talk about my shit. But like you said, I don't even remember what you said, but obviously it turned into his album.
So we heard you're working on another album. Can you tell us about it? What's going on?
Blueprint 2, The Gift and the Curse.
Oh, on my time, and like I said, I didn't know he was there. If I knew he was there, then, you know, we would have vibed it out, but it was more like a surprise. That's kind of probably what my face was. It wasn't more of disgust, it was more of a, what's going on?
DMX saw what Nas saw, what a lot of people now admit. Jay-Z wasn't just competing. He was erasing competition before it even had a chance to rise. And the most strategic part? He never did it alone. Jay used Beyoncé's global image to mask his moves. Nas flat out said it. Jay hid behind Beyoncé. While she captured headlines, dropped visuals, and secured fan loyalty, Jay was moving quietly, releasing projects and drowning out his rivals under the noise of Bayhive buzz. 50 Cent didn't mince words either. He claimed Jay's success skyrocketed only after marrying Beyoncé, and that their marriage was less about romance and more of a business contract. According to Fifth, the marriage gave Jay legitimacy, awards, and protection. Suddenly, Jay was no longer the street-savvy hustler from Marcy. He was family man Jay, Beyoncé's husband, the face of Black excellence. But behind that rebrand, some say the same shady tactics never stopped. Even Jay's Grammy wins raised eyebrows. 50 Cent pointed out how even Beyoncé and Jay's children have Grammys now, without recording a single track. He joked that trophies just roll in when your last name is Carter. And the numbers back it. Before Beyoncé, Jay had a handful of awards. After, dozens. The implication? Jay used the marriage not just for image, but for industry immunity.
That's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I could have put up movies. I could have showed the R. Kelly video that everybody's talking about, made fun of it, and said, yo, Jay's hanging out. When Jay and them was in there doing Best of Both Worlds, you can't tell me Jay didn't see a 14-year-old girl come in the studio and sit on R. Kelly's lap.
No,
You can't tell me, you won't sit here and tell me that working on that album that he ain't never seen a 14-year-old.
My belief is that anybody who's worked with him and been in his cipher has seen it go down.
Brother needs help, and I pray for him. But if I sit there and did an album about women with him, I'm definitely maybe indulging. He had to be indulgent for 14 years.
Then came the R. Kelly controversy, where Nas took it to another level. Years before the surviving R. Kelly documentary, Nas went on Wendy Williams' radio show and dropped bombshells. He accused Jay of turning a blind eye to the allegations against Kelly because he wanted to profit off their joint album, Best of Both Worlds. Nas said Jay couldn't possibly have missed the red flags unless he chose to. Nas even hinted that Jay's silence was more than just business, that maybe Jay wasn't just protecting R. Kelly, but protecting something closer to home, something darker, something that made him complicit. But instead of owning up, Jay financed the surviving R. Kelly documentary himself, rebranded and turned the page, leaving behind the wreckage like it never happened. That, Nas said, was Jay's final chess move.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those fucking trophies, those fucking trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, listen, if you look at his career,
This guy. Wow. You're gonna let him say that?
Jay was getting Grammys.
he had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he ain't show up.
No, he has like 20 now.
Hold on.
He had like 18 since he been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
Hold on.
You're not wrong.
He was one. After that, he got them shits. He started drinking. His pictures with him like fucking things the cup.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the success is derived from the marriage?
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades.
Because he's no
marriage.
longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's.
Oh wow! So that's the deal he signed, huh?
Yeah, that's the deal. Like the other ones didn't count as much as that one did.
All of this paints a picture, not of a rapper, but of a strategist, a mogul who plays the long game, one who sidesteps lyrical battles in favor of release dates, media timing, and branding, someone who weaponized silence, timing, and even marriage to stay untouchable. And while many artists stayed quiet, two didn't. Nas and DMX. They saw through the smoke, they spoke out. And that's why their voices still echo. When DMX passed away in 2021, it hit Nas hard, not just as a friend, but as a fellow truth teller. Nas spoke at his memorial with tears in his eyes, not just mourning the man, but the mission they shared. The mission to speak truth in an industry that silences it. He gave respect to Yonkers, to the Rough Riders, to Swizz Beatz, and reminded us all what DMX stood for: raw honesty, real loyalty, and fearless integrity. So now the question is, how much of Jay-Z's legacy is real? And how much was orchestrated behind the scenes? Do we credit the talent or the timing, the lyrics or the branding? Did Nas and DMX uncover a truth fans didn't want to see? Or were they just bitter from industry politics? And how much does Beyonce's star power play into the protection and praise Jay continues to receive?
The kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing. Right. They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming.
Let's be real. It's easier to believe the fairy tale. Jay-Z, the businessman. Beyoncé, the queen. A love story turned empire. But what if that empire was built on silence, sabotage, and calculated moves? What if the artists we idolize as power couples were really just power players, protecting the brand, not the culture? What DMX and Nas did was rare. They didn't just spit bars. They told uncomfortable truths. And even in death, DMX's words carry weight because he didn't back down from power. And neither did Nas. They weren't trying to go viral. They were trying to make the industry look in the mirror. Whether Jay ever responds doesn't matter. The damage is already done. The stories are out, and fans are starting to connect the dots.
My brother DMX, it's an honor to be here tonight. At the same time, it's a sad day. It's a glorious day. We stood outside the Tunnel nightclub about to shoot a scene, and he looked at me and tears in his eyes because he knew about the journey he was about to embark on, becoming a hip-hop icon. I want to say my condolences to my brother DMX family, to all his beautiful kids, to Yonkers, to Rough Riders, Swiss Beats, D, Y, Eve, Locks, the whole family, Drag On, everybody. I said my piece, love.
So now it's your turn. What do you think about Jay-Z's alleged pattern of sabotaging fellow artists? Was Nas right to expose it all? Was DMX justified in walking away from Def Jam? Is Beyoncé's brand being used as a shield? Or is that just part of the hustle? How much of this is just business and how much of it is betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is far from over. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the stories they don't want you to hear. This is Hush Buzz, where truth meets tea. Catch you in the next one.